Hey guys, welcome to the Quickview for a game called ChromaGun. The first thing I will mention is that I don't know why there is a marker in the top left for my FPS that's all garbled up. I'll try to fix that for whatever comes out next, if that's still there. The next thing I want to say is that I didn't pay for this game. This game was given to me by the developer to play on my channel, so I decided to do a quick view on it because it seemed like an interesting game to say the least, and I hadn't played it at all. So I thought it was a perfect candidate for a quick view. So now that we have that out of the way, because I want to be honest with you guys, like, I'm not gonna say, oh, this game's the best, and then just be like, oh yeah, I totally wasn't given this game for free. I just found it one day and it's totally good. Because I mean, that's just stupid. Why would I want to say something like that? I mean, sure, it might. I mean, besides being totally obvious that I'm doing that, because I'm not a good liar, we'll say that. It's not a good strategy because I want to be honest with these things. If the game is terrible, I'm gonna say it's terrible, even if I was given it for free. I mean, if I ever receive a game for free from the developer and the game is terrible, what I'll do probably is not make a video on it, because that would be better than me making a video on it and just ripping it to pieces. So like, I would probably just respond with, hey, thanks for the game, but I didn't really enjoy it, so I will choose not to make a video on it. Because I think that's a more respectful decision than saying, oh, your game's terrible, make it better. But that's my personal opinion. Anyway, on to ChromaGun. Now, my first impressions of this game, as soon as you start the game, you start going down this elevator shaft, and my first impression was the game is like, oh, it's kind of like Portal. And then as I go along, there's this narrator in the background or not the narrator, there's like a guy over an intercom in the background, and he's talking to me, and I think, oh, Stanley Parable. So my first impressions of this game were that it's derivative of Portal and the Stanley Parable. And now that I've played through it for a quick view, I'm leaning a lot more toward the Portal side. It seems like they took inspiration from the Portal game and decided to make it a lot simpler, easier to play. So ChromaGun seems to me like, whereas Portal is marketed toward teenagers, ChromaGun would be more like an E10 rating, maybe a little bit less. Because I mean, the game is very easy to learn. I'll give it that. That is definitely something going for it. It's really easy to learn. You shoot the wall, it turns that color. You shoot a different color at the wall, it turns a mixture of those two colors. Done. You can also shoot the robots, and they turn the colors that you shoot. Easy. Turn the same color robot to the same color wall, it gets stuck there. Easy. So, I mean, that is definitely a positive. Another thing I really liked is that the puzzles are pretty short. Just like playing Super Meat Boy. It's like, Super Meat Boy is really, really hard, but you don't feel like it's unfair because the puzzles are all super short, and if you fail, then who cares? You're back 5 seconds and you can do it again. ChromaGun is very much the same way. If you mess up, then, oh no, you go back a few seconds and you redo it. Also, as a side note here, if you hold down the Z button in the game, it resets the puzzle, which is a very good feature to have. And you can't just press it, you have to hold it down for a few seconds, so it's like idiot-proof. So, thumbs up for that. And the game, another really good positive I like about the game is that it doesn't drop you into the deep end, it eases you into the game. It eases you into the game extremely slowly, but I think that's just because this game is targeted toward a younger audience. Whereas something like Portal is like, okay, here's the portal gun, this is how you use it, go. This game is more like, okay, here's your ChromaGun. It only fires one color. Shoot the wall. Okay, now shoot the wall. Shoot the wall. Okay, now the droid moves there. Now shoot the droid. Okay, it moves to the wall. Now shoot the droid and the wall, and they move together. And it slowly builds up from there. In my opinion, it eases you into the game extremely slowly. Too slowly. I would have liked it if it was faster. But considering who this game is marketed for, it's definitely... I think it's pretty on par. Even... It could be a little bit faster, but... I mean, you know, games are a lot simpler like this nowadays. It's not like 90s Nintendo hard, so it's still a positive. Another thing I started to notice about halfway through the game is that the loading screens of the game were actually extremely short. I mean, I don't have the best computer, and my computer's 5 years old, and it's a laptop, so I'm assuming it's going to die soon. But even on this computer, the load screens are really short. So I mean, that is a definite thumbs up for this game. If you can manage to have short loading screens on a computer that's 5 years old and isn't that good on it, and isn't that good anymore, then you definitely get a thumbs up from me. I think the longest loading screen I had was the very first one at the start of the game, and even that one was like, I don't know, 8 seconds, and the ones after that are like, I don't know, 2 to 3 seconds, and then again, this is on a terrible computer, so definitely good, for sure. But what is a game without negatives? This game does have negatives. The first negative I found is that I said the load screens were short before, but that doesn't excuse the fact that there is a load screen between every single puzzle in the game. This isn't a terrible thing, but it just kind of gets draining after a while. I mean, if the puzzles were a bit longer and they had a load screen in between every puzzle, then I'd be like, oh, okay, cool, I finished the puzzle, take a sip of my drink, back into the game. Awesome. But since the puzzles are so short and there's a load screen between everything, then it's kind of like, it's just kind of draining. You don't, I used that word before, but I can't think of another word for it. You get really tired of it. And sometimes you just don't want to keep continuing on the game because it's just, oh, I finished the puzzle, now I have to wait a few seconds and then I can go to the next one. Another point that I don't like about this game is that the difficulty is very up and down. Now, using my master art skills, I will show you two graphs. This one here is how the average game works with difficulty versus player skill. ChromaGun seems to work this way. I don't really like that. It's very all over the place. I mean, for the first part, it's like there's hardly an increase, but after that it's just... This seems really weird. It's very jarring to have an extremely difficult puzzle followed by shooting a single wall and moving forward. I mean, I think there's one point in this game specifically where I had a puzzle, I did it wrong, I had to restart, I did it again, and the puzzle immediately after was me walking forward, shooting a wall, shooting a robot, and continuing to walk forward, and it was done. Really? Why even put that in there? Why not just skip to the next level? That's my opinion, though. The final negative point that I have for this game is that, I mean, I did receive this game for free, but it cost $15. I personally think that's too much for this game. I got halfway through the game in an hour. So I would not buy it for $15. Of course, that $15 is in Canadian, so wherever you are, it's probably less. But I would wait for about a 20 to 25% price drop. Then if you're interested in puzzle games that don't take too long to play, or you're just getting into puzzle games, then I would recommend picking up this one. But I don't think I would buy it at the current price, just because it's not a super long game. That might just be me. Maybe I'm just super good at puzzles, but I don't know. I don't think that's just it. I think the game is also kind of short. So overall, like, it's a good game, but I would wait for a slight price drop to pick it up. Overall, this game does have a lot more positives than negatives, so for that, I do have to give it the Miles thumbs up of approval. And thank you for watching. Have a nice day.